You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It's takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. So glad to be back with you. I know most of you aren't here, but that's okay. I know you're watching Game 7. Go Astros. Let's get this one done. Get those dirty Dodgers and just make them sulk all night in their own hometown. That'd be great. All right, so anyway, now that I've offended all our West Coast listeners, it's all good. Love your team no matter what. We got tons to talk about tonight. Before we get rolling, just want to remind you that coming up next is Jesse's POV, followed by the Stafford Voice, and then America Off the Rails. All night Wednesday right here on KLRN Radio. It's the best place to be, so do yourself a favor and stay put. Now, first and foremost, yeah, I don't like doing the obvious stories, but we got to talk about the terrorist attack. We do. We all know what happened. This Uzbekistani immigrant plowed down 8 people, or he plowed down 19 people, killed 8, injured 11 in New York City along a bike path, apparently. The real story behind it is, of course, how we're hearing the lectures from the left about making sure that we don't blame all Muslims. They're not all violent. They're not all radical. We all know this already, but they just keep jumping like it's the carrot that they have to go to. I do, however, like one of the ideas, maybe, I'd like to learn a little more about it, but on the surface anyway, I like the idea that President Trump forwarded today about doing away with this lottery visa system. I don't like that at all, I don't think. From what I understand, basically it's just like it sounds. It's just a random draw. You put your name in the hat, and this is such a bad idea. I can't even begin to tell you how bad it is that these people can just luck out and get a visa and come in here. I was listening to some of Governor Cuomo's comments in New York, and he was very quick to say that this young man, I believe he's 29 years old, 28, 29, did not come to the United States already radicalized. That didn't happen until after he was here. Like that somehow makes it better. I get the point he's trying to make. It was just made very badly. Look, it doesn't matter how we try to vet these people. The fact of the matter is this: when we do the in-depth vetting that they keep talking about, the ramped up version that Trump talks about, that some of these others in the military and in Homeland talk about, really, what good is it? I mean, we can ask them 80,000 questions when they apply to come to the United States. We can either accept or deny what they tell us. We can verify at least part of what they tell us, maybe, depending on the country and depending on what kind of records they might have and their cooperation with us. What good is this enhanced vetting? I mean, okay, are you from a country where there is a prominent Muslim population? Yes, I am. Do you intend to do harm to anyone in the United States? No, I don't. Okay, we're going to verify this if we can. Please, call my country. I have no criminal record. I'm not on any kind of government terror watch list. Whatever. Call, check me out. I'm cool. Right, we don't know, because then 8 months later or 10 months later or a year or whatever, you're killing people. So we don't know. We don't know is the point, Governor Cuomo, whether he came here radicalized or not. For you to step forward and say that there's no evidence of it, well, duh. You know, we were less than 24 hours into the whole thing, and you're talking about there's no evidence of it. Well, yeah, it takes a little time to piece things like that together. Maybe he didn't become radicalized until after he was here. I don't really care. What I care about is we have an immigration system, a long-standing immigration program that simply hands out visas at random. And the president has now said that he wants to shut this program down. And I don't see that as a bad thing. Now, President Trump also said that he would certainly consider transferring this young man to Gitmo, which I have no problem with. I'm sure that there are plenty of groups that would try to sue on his behalf to stop that from happening. I'm sure CARE would be among them. I'm sure the ACLU would be among them. I don't get, I send him to Gitmo. He probably lives like a hero down there among the population, knowing what he did, knowing that he's sitting in prison in New York, bragging about this attack, saying that he did it in the name of ISIS and Allah. You send him to Gitmo and he's a hero. I say put his ass in Rikers. Let's see how he lasts there. Put him in Gen Pop in Rikers and let's see how long he lasts. Lots of American prisoners there that probably wouldn't take too kindly to having him. But, there is a long-standing precedent that no one arrested on American soil has ever been sent to Guantanamo. and no one captured on foreign soil has been sent there since 2008. There are a lot of constitutional and legal issues that might be at stake. And, you know, who knows? I guess we'll see what we see. Maybe Justice can provide some guidance on that, Attorney General Sessions. But the remarks from the president outlined a focus on immigration and what he called an excess of political correctness. And he said that he is starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. And he's going to ask Congress to immediately initiate work to get rid of it. He continued by saying diversity lottery sounds nice. It's not nice. It's not good. It hasn't been good. We've been against it. We have to get much less politically correct. We're so politically correct that we're afraid to do anything, he said. The president also denounced chain migration, meaning the ability of immigrants to sponsor family members, and promised to toughen sentences against terrorists without specifying how. I don't know how you do that either. Again, DOJ for guidance there. We need quick justice, President Trump said, and we need strong justice, much quicker and much stronger than we have right now. Now, the backlash, of course, comes from Chuck Schumer, Senator Schumer, the senior legislator from New York and the Democratic leader in the upper chamber of Congress. President Trump actually blamed him for the diversity lottery visa program that he supported and enacted on 27 years ago. Schumer responded from the Senate floor, trying to regale everyone in the 2011, the September 11th, 2001 aftermath, when then President Bush actually brought Senators Schumer and Clinton, then the other senator from New York, to the White House for a show of national unity, and then called out President Trump, asking where his leadership was. Now, don't get me wrong. Senator Schumer has a fair point to make. However, the way he made it was petulant, childlike, and pouty. So again, we're not even 24 hours, well, we are now, but 24 hours after this event, and we've already got the political spat going on. We've already got the name calling going on. We've got the finger pointing going on. Enough already. Enough of the nonsense from both sides. If we have work to do, let's buckle down and get the work done. If I feel this way, I know a lot of you feel this way. I'm a little more patient than most people, and I'm fed up. So, at a news conference updating the public about the attack, again, Governor Cuomo chided President Trump for his Twitter posts, saying they were not helpful and they were not even accurate, intended to point fingers and politicize the situation. Both sides are doing that, Governor. Cuomo continued by saying, "You play into the hands of the terrorists to the extent that you disrupt and divide and frighten people in this society." Governor Cuomo, who is a Democrat, and he continued, and the tone now should be the exact opposite by all officials on all levels. Again, talking about this is about unification. It's about solidarity. Governor, there's nobody that is suggesting that we drive a wedge between people in New York. On the opposite side of the coin, President Trump blaming specifically Chuck Schumer. He may have sponsored the bill 27 years ago, but it took a majority of Congress to get that passed. So there's a lot of blame to go around here, if there's any at all. And again, let's just get down to the business of taking care of business and leave the finger pointing, nanny, nanny, boo boo, stick your head in doo doo stuff on the playground where it belongs. So, then of course, no surprise to anybody that's kept up with this, no surprise, is who came to Schumer's rescue. Senator Jeff Flake, an alleged Republican from Arizona who has broken hard with the White House administration and said that actually the Gang of Eight legislation would have done away with this lottery program. He said, I've not actually come across that. And granted, I haven't read all of the Gang of Eight legislation. I did start into it back when we were doing shows on it regularly, but I do not recall that being in there. I will have to go hunting for it now. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But if it is true, you can bet that it's a trade-off for something else. So we got to figure that part out as to why Flake comes running in, Mr. Irrelevant. He is now Mr. Irrelevant. He's not running. He's polling so low in his home state that he might as well not be voting on anything, because everything he's voting on is anti-Trump stance. It doesn't matter if the bill is good or not. He's going to vote against it if the president wants it. So anyway, the Democrats noted that President Trump was quick to assail his political opponents on immigration. And yeah, he was. I think that could have waited. I think it was a little petty for the timing. Again, valid point to make, but still accurate. So, the long and short of it, thoughts and prayers to the families affected by this, to the people that were injured, people that were killed. It's heartbreaking. And I know that a lot of these people weren't even Americans, but some were. I think they said there was a group of five Argentinians, I think it was, just mowed down together. And I think they said there was one from Belgium. So, I mean, they're in the whole, that's 6 right there. That's a third of everybody that was killed / injured. So this is not just an America issue here. This is, these are foreign nationals being attacked on American soil. So again, I see plenty of opportunity for unity here, but can we be unified in that this guy is a terrorist? He was shouting Allahu Akbar. He was shot by police and was in critical condition Tuesday night. No need to even mention his name. Yes, I can say it, but why give him the pleasure? He came to the United States in 2010 from Uzbekistan and has a green card that permits permanent legal residency. Homeland Security confirmed that he arrived through the diversity visa program. And the program creates a class of immigrants called diversity immigrants from countries with historically low rates of immigration to the United States. About 50,000 diversity visas are distributed annually, apportioned to 6 geographic regions, and no single country receives more than 7% of the available visas in 1 year, according to the State Department. So nearly 14.7 million people applied last year, meaning less than 1% of those who seek such visas receive them. Well, boo-hoo. So what? Just because you want to come here doesn't mean you get to. This is a recurring theme. The left wants to tear down our borders. They do not want us to be a sovereign nation. And that's just the fact of the matter. The program has been a target of conservatives who proposed eliminating it in legislation endorsed in August by Mr. Trump that would crack down on legal immigration. The legislation would slash legal immigration to the United States in half within a decade by sharply curtailing the ability of American citizens and legal residents to bring family members into the country. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that program of, either coattail or piggyback immigration, however you want to classify it, that is how the Tsarnaev brothers came to the United States. They coattailed in on somebody else. And, they were a fine family too. So, in his remarks, the president stressed again that he wanted merit-based immigration, suggesting that this terrorist was let into the United States without consideration about whether he had skills that could benefit the United States. In fact, the program requires potential applicants to have the equivalent of a high school education or have been employed for at least 2 years in jobs approved by the State Department. That doesn't necessarily mean that he could benefit the United States with his skills. That simply means that he could possibly find a job and maintain himself in poverty. Possibly higher than poverty, but, his job he could have been employed flipping burgers for 2 years and applied to come to the United States. In 2014, more than 1 million legal permanent residents admitted to the United States, about 5%, were admitted through the diversity lottery program. And that's according to data compiled by the Migration Policy Institute. President Trump, who during last year's campaign called for a complete ban on all Muslims entering the United States, has long sought to close the borders to many outsiders. He has signed several versions of a travel ban aimed at mainly countries with Muslim majorities, even as courts repeatedly intervened and been overturned. They didn't mention that little part, did you? He has embraced plans to cut the number of refugees allowed into the country as well as legal immigrants. Again, folks, I don't really have a problem with this. I'm sorry if that offends somebody, but I come from a family of immigrants, and I understand what a gift it is, and I don't think it should just be brandied about like it's, free, and you come here and do whatever you want to and never mind. No, that's not how it works. For those of you wondering a little more about that, you can visit my friends over at Misfit Politics. There is a piece that I wrote that they were kind enough to publish. And you can look more into how my family came to the United States and how that worked and why it should work that way for everybody. But, coming from Uzbekistan, this is not a country that was targeted by the president's travel restrictions. Uzbekistan is a former Soviet republic, and it has over the years hosted American and other Western military forces as part of a war in neighboring Afghanistan, although it forced the United States to close a base there in 2005 after a human rights dispute following a massacre. So, with his early morning Twitter messages, the president seemed to suggest Uzbekistan was part of Europe instead of Central Asia. That is not a hard thing to get confused about. I know a lot of people that would suggest either or. The pointing the finger at Schumer, again, just stop the pettiness already. And Schumer, quit the whining and crying. It's just time to get down to fixing this thing. And I mean, let's look at it realistically. There's a lot of work that needs to be done by our Congress. They are the legislative branch. They're supposed to pass the laws. They're supposed to hammer these things out. And it's been almost a year of Trump now, and at least 6 years of Obama, that Congress hasn't done much of a damn thing. And quite frankly, to know that there are 280 bills that have been passed out of the House and are sitting in the drawer, in the desk drawer of Mitch McConnell at the Senate, waiting on him to act on them, it's vulgar. 280 bills. My representative told me that. 280 bills that are sitting in McConnell's desk waiting to be acted upon. And his explanation as to why, credit to Congressman Bradley Byrne, because you've heard me say this before, and it comes from him. He's the man who said it originally. There are too many Republicans and not enough conservatives. Now, folks, we're at the bottom of the hour. We got to take a quick break. That's very cool, Rick. Thank you for that note. We're going to touch on that when we come back. Stay tuned. Give us about 3 minutes, and we'll be right back with you.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, $1,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America?
All right. Welcome back. Right as we were heading to the break, Rick was just hitting me with some breaking news that the House has passed a bill allowing the State Department to revoke passports of terror suspects. Again, the House doing their job. They got this passed. It's going to the Senate. Let's see what happens. But like I said,
it'll sit in the drawer.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it going to go to the bottom of the 280 stack that's in McConnell's desk? I mean, what the hell do we have to look forward to? I mean, really, in a nutshell, what good is it? But we'll see. So anyway, we need to move on. And I saw this crazy story, and it's related mildly to world politics, or maybe regional politics. Just depends on how you look at it. But I thought this was interesting enough to deserve a mention. Shared concerns about Iran may be erasing decades-old tensions between Arab states and Israel. But the organizers of an international judo competition in the United Arab Emirates this week showed there's still a long way to go for the Jewish state and acceptance of it. Abu Dhabi Grand Slam organizers, the UAE Judo Federation, announced ahead of the competition that Israelis would not be allowed to compete under their nation's flag, and that the Israeli national anthem would not be played if an Israeli won an event. So during last Thursday's opening day, Israelis, including Gili Cohen and Shira Roshani, competed with the International Judo Federation, acronym IJF, on the back of their judojis, while their opponents' uniforms bore the three letters identifying their countries, either USA, Russia, or Kazakhstan. After Israel's Tal Flicker won the gold medal in his 66 kilogram category, the organizer's stance became even more evident. Rather than play the Israeli national anthem, Hatikva, or the Hope, the anthem was the IJF, the anthem of the IJF was played. And as the winners' national flags ascended above the podium, the flags of bronze runners-up Georgia and silver in Russia were accompanied not by Israel's Star of David, but by the IJF flag. This is sick. This is a sporting event. This is supposed to be a goodwill, camaraderie, sportsmanship, show the world you're grown up. But we have to deal with this crap. I mean, and basically, it's because they can't stand the fact that they know the Israelis excel at this. And they just don't want to give them the credit that they're due. It's pathetic. It's petty. And look, this is not Russia doing this. This is not Georgia doing this. This is not Azerbaijan doing this. This is not any of these other countries that were runners up to the Israelis in their weight classes. This is UAE. This is the United Arab Emirates. So the IJF's official webcast went along with the Emirati organizers' stipulations, with commentators identifying the Israelis not as Israelis, but as, quote, representing the International Judo Federation. In a later report on the day's competition on the IJF's official website, the word Israel did not appear. This is sad. This is really sad. This is pathetic. And yet there are people out there that think that there's no bias against the Jewish state or Jews or anything like that out there. So earlier this month, the World Jewish Congress called on IJF President Marius Weiser to intervene after the Abu Dhabi Organizing Committee announced its policy on Israeli competitors. Weiser, an Austrian, subsequently wrote to the organizers demanding that all delegations, including the Israeli delegation, shall be treated absolutely equally in all aspects without any exception. IJF further requests that you take all appropriate steps, including, if necessary, with the public authorities to comply with the IJF's demand. Weiser pointed out that the Federation's statutes state that the IJF shall not discriminate on the ground of race, religion, gender, or political opinion. The IJF president sent a copy of the letter to the World Jewish Congress, which made it public. Queries sent Thursday to Weiser and other top Federation officials brought no response by press time. They were asked how the IJF justified the UAE Judo Federation's treatment of Israeli competitors and also about the Federation's apparent compliance. Friends, this is sick. This is like, it's no different than if the United States was told, you can't compete under your flag, you won't be known as Americans, you'll just be somebody representing the IJF. Now, granted, they didn't have to go. But if they don't go, then they can't claim to be the best in the world. And obviously they are the best in the world, but they don't get recognized for it. Anyway, like I said, it was interesting. I thought I'd bring it up. Take your anti-Semitism and, I don't have my sound effect handy. So anyway, that's where it is. So, other hot news going on that is completely overshadowed by the terrorist attack. On Monday, President Trump announced that United States Special Forces had captured a man linked to the 2012 attack on the American consulate mission in Benghazi. The president said that on his orders, United States forces captured Mustafa al-Imam in Libya, which came as the White House was rocked. Well, I wouldn't say it was rocked, since there was a leak about the indictment of 3 campaign aides. They can say what they want to about that, but I think everybody knew it was coming. Trump said the capture took place on his orders, and as a result, al-Imam will face justice in the United States for his alleged role in the September 11th, 2012 attacks in Benghazi. The Benghazi Four, they all died. Ambassador Stevens, shoot, you're taxing my memory now. Stevens, Tyrone Woodley, I can't remember the other names. But anyway, we know who they are. We do know who they are. I should have wrote those down, and I meant to, but shame on me. Anyway, look, we've got a guy in custody that apparently knew something, or we wouldn't be taking him from Libya and bringing him to face justice in the United States. There's pretty high confidence that we can prove something against this guy. So it's a great move. It's long overdue, and I'm sure I'm sure that by now he's had somebody scrub his YouTube account so that the video is not there any longer, so we can't blame it on the video. But anyway, that I thought was great for the families of the 4 that were lost, for the families and the survivors of Benghazi that made it back. Some of those guys are dismembered, missing arms or legs, or having difficulty still with the injuries they received in the battle. This is some semblance of good news in that front, in something that the previous administration had basically just swept away. It's good to know that these men were not forgotten. And I, for one, am happy. So, moving on, the judge in the bribery trial of New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez denied a mistrial motion Monday, labeling arguments that he has hampered the defense's case by limiting what evidence and witnesses they can present as devoid of even palpable merit. Attorneys for the Democrat and his longtime friend, Florida eye doctor Solomon Melgen, had accused U.S. District Judge William Walz in a motion filed over the weekend of tying their hands with his evidence rulings during the first 8 weeks of the trial. The filing alleged Walz's rulings have deprived defendants of their Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights to a fair trial and to an adequate defense. No, Rick, no, that's not your fault. That's mine, buddy. Rick was posting the names of the Benghazi 4, and God bless him for looking that up. He was not Johnny on the spot. He wasn't supposed to be Johnny on the spot, but Tyrone Woods, Glenn Doherty, Chris Stevens, and Sean Smith. Thank you, Rick, for getting that. They deserve to be mentioned specifically. Anyway, back into the Menendez deal here. The filings allege that Walz's rulings had deprived the defendants of their constitutional rights to a fair trial and to an adequate defense, and to confront the witnesses against them. In strongly worded remarks Monday, Walz chided the defense for failing to acknowledge that they are bound by the rules of evidence. There's not even palpable merit to what you wish, he added. Menendez is charged with accepting free flights on a private jet and other gifts from Melgen in exchange for political influence. And I wish to hell that they could find the right witnesses, because the quote-unquote other gifts that they're referring to are the same kind of other gifts that Frank Giestra and Bill Clinton and that ilk enjoy too, in the form of underage girls. And there's even been rumors that Menendez may not even like the underage girls so much as he likes the underage boys. But here nor there, it doesn't matter, boy or girl, underaged. Underaged is the key here. Now, much of the two men's defense centers around their longtime friendship, which attorneys say explains the gifts. Central to an indictment that charges the men with bribery, fraud, and conspiracy, meanwhile, is that in return for the gifts, Menendez pressured executive branch officials to help Melgen with his $8.9 million Medicare billing dispute and with a stalled port screening contract in the Dominican Republic. Defense attorneys allege that their mistrial motion that Walz hasn't sufficiently let them introduce witnesses or evidence to show that Menendez's intent in meeting with those officials was to discuss broad policy issues and not Melgen's specific concerns. On frequent occasions, Walz has justified his rulings by saying the defense's evidence is either irrelevant or repetitive, and that Melgen's disputes aren't an issue for the jury to decide, only whether a bribery arrangement existed. And on Monday, the judge didn't budge. Don't budge the judge. He said the defense wants to spend morning, noon, and night discussing details of the port contract and the Medicare dispute. It's a question for this court to determine when enough is enough. The defense is expected to rest its case this week, after which jurors would hear closing arguments. The most serious charge the two men faced, honest services fraud, carries a maximum 20-year prison sentence. Walz has already denied previous motions to have the case thrown out, most recently 2 weeks ago when defense attorneys alleged prosecutors hadn't proved evidence of bribery under a narrow definition of the crime stemming from a United States Supreme Court decision last year. They are going to do everything in their power to try to keep Menendez from being convicted. And if he is convicted, you can almost assuredly bet there will be an automatic appeal. So here we go. If a United States senator is convicted of a felony, and this is a felony, should he be forcibly removed from office before his appeal? Interesting question. I tend to think yes, he should, but maybe you disagree, and that's okay. We can go that route. I could make an argument either way. I just tend to think that the people that we elect and put our trust in to run public policy and to legislate for us on our behalf should be better than that. And quite frankly, even if it's a technicality that would get you off, you're not the kind of person I want representing me because you're not above board. Now, does that mean they should all go? Well, maybe. I don't know. I've called for all of them to go before. And this just in, folks. Rick is just all over it tonight. The FBI has nabbed the second Muslim suspect in connection with the New York City jihad terror attack. They were looking for him as of last night. I believe they mentioned him, and now they have him in custody. So this is a good thing. We'll start getting some information maybe. All right. So what else do we have tonight? What do we have? We have Bo Bergdahl. President Trump's scathing criticism of Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl won't prevent the soldier from receiving a fair sentence for endangering comrades by walking off his post in Afghanistan in 2009, a judge ruled on Monday. The judge, Army Colonel Jeffrey Nance, said the court has not been directly affected by Trump's remarks, nor would the comments cause a reasonable member of the public to have doubts about the fairness of the military justice system. He had to consider both questions in deciding on whether actual or apparent unlawful command influence was interfering in the case. He said, "I am completely unaffected by any opinions President Trump may have about Sergeant Bergdahl." He added that prosecutors had convinced him that the Trump comments won't put an intolerable strain on the public perception of military courts. Last year, then Republican nominee Trump repeatedly called Bergdahl a traitor on the campaign trail and suggested that he be shot or thrown from a plane without a parachute. Again, stop with the stupid stuff. Trump revived those comments when Bergdahl pleaded guilty on October 16th by saying at a news conference that he thinks people are aware of what he said before. The White House later released a statement that, while not mentioning Bergdahl by name, said that every military justice case should be decided by military personnel using their own judgment. Nance cited that statement in his ruling. Nance did say he would keep Trump's comments in mind as he weighs other factors that will go into his sentencing decision. The hearing is expected to last several more days. mitigating factors such as Bergdahl's mental health or his time in captivity by Taliban allies would encourage leniency. I tend to disagree with that. It shouldn't. Maybe it still does. I don't know. On the other hand, prosecutors are presenting evidence of wounds to several service members who searched for Bergdahl as aggravating evidence to push for a stiffer punishment. Bergdahl faces a maximum of life in prison after pleading guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. Bergdahl was held by Taliban allies. Taliban allies sounds weird. He was held by the Taliban for 5 years after he left his remote post. Following Nance's ruling, prosecutors called their final witness, Shannon Allen, to discuss a traumatic brain injury suffered by her husband when he was shot in the head searching for Bergdahl. And this is Sergeant Mark Allen, who still can't speak today because of that injury. The unit was ambushed by insurgents using small arms, machine guns, and rocket-propelled grenades. The soldier is unable to speak, as I mentioned, and uses a wheelchair and needs help with everyday tasks. The best of the best put it on the line to go look for Bergdahl after he deserted. Shannon Allen's voice faltered while she referred to the brain injury's effect on his interactions with their daughter, who was an infant when he was wounded. She is now 9, and Mark Allen is in his mid-30s. He's not able to reach out for her or talk to her. He's never had the chance to really play with her or help coach her sports or ask her about her day. Before the injury, he was an outdoorsman who was very loud and outgoing. He loved playing outside with his son from another relationship. His wife said he can smile, make eye contact, and sometimes he can make a thumbs up. But he has little communication beyond that. And, man, we don't need to beat that testimony up. That sells itself right there. He lost me as a wife, essentially, she said, because instead of being his wife, I'm now his caregiver. I mean, we can't even hold hands, she said. While Bergdahl acknowledged at his plea hearing that his actions triggered the search missions that resulted in the wounds, his lawyers argue there's a limit to his responsibility for a lengthy chain of events that includes enemy attacks and decisions by the United States military commanders who led the searches. Hold up right there, big boy. I don't know if Bergdahl's defense is a military lawyer or a civilian lawyer, but let me tell you something. If for 1 minute they had thought that the United States military had given up looking for Bergdahl, they would have sued the military. They would have sued everybody they could think to sue for deserting their son. And this is just absolutely ridiculous that they're trying to spin this around and saying that he doesn't bear the responsibility because the chain of events was lengthy. Because they actually gave a damn and didn't want to give up in searching for their missing comrade who they didn't know at that time was a deserter. Makes me sick to my stomach. So anyway, folks, we are back to the top of the hour. It is time to put a button on it. Jesse's POV is coming up next, followed by the Stafford Voice. And then America Off the Rails is your nightcap with the ever-present and quick-handed Rick Robinson, who has been funneling all those hot news tips to me while we were on the air tonight. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it, buddy. I hope you have time to go into them further in detail. Everybody, do yourself a favor. Stay right here. You can set your phone next to you, tune into ESPN, and just watch the score updates. But listen to KLRN Radio all night tonight. I'm the Grouch. Thank you for being here. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome here every week with me. Thank you.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. Medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.